But it wasn't until a couple of years ago, really, what set me on this particular journey. I've always had an interest in nonprofits, in the social sector, in helping people. I really believe that we rise individually by lifting others, and that's something that I've always carried through my work. But it was a couple of years ago. So I have a daughter, she's about to be 10. But when she was in second grade, she came home with a class project where they were supposed to do a wax museum. So the idea was everybody picks a historical figure, and then they're going to come in on a Friday. They're going to dress like this figure and, have a note card with some facts. And parents could come visit the quote unquote wax museum and learn about these historical figures. So the list she came home of choices of historical figures was 10 names long. And it took me a minute to realize it, but she had circled 3 names on the list. She had circled Rosa Parks, Helen Keller, and Jackie Robinson. And I was like, those are 3 interesting choices. What's going on here? And
Yeah.
I realized she had circled those names because she knew 2 of them were women, and presumed Jackie Robinson was also a woman. And I went, oh, she's trying to get to the women on the list. Oh, wait, there's only 2 women on this list to choose from.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I reached out to school and was like, hey, just noticed this. Do you think we could expand the list or check the list out the window? And I checked in with some of the other moms in my neighborhood, and I was like, did you guys see this? And they were like, yeah, we saw it. And I was just blown away when the principal emailed me back and said, yeah, we noticed that too, but it's in the curriculum for the state of Virginia. So we're following the curriculum. And I went like, what now?
Right.
So I, of course, had to look it up for myself. And there it was in the state of Virginia history curriculum, second grade. Here's the list of 10 historical figures that are required to be taught. And that made me go, well, this is just second grade. What does the whole K through 12 experience look like? So, and this journey is really symbolic, I think, of the book writing journey. It was like find a little rabbit hole and then like keep scratching till you get to the bottom of it. So I ended up hiring somebody on Fiverr to help me read the entire K through 12 history curriculum.
Whoa.
And count the number of times names were mentioned specifically to be read, and then figure out how many of those were male historical figures versus female. We counted a couple of different ways. George Washington appears every year, 3 times a year, practically.
Yeah.
So when we finally, took out duplicates, took out Martin Luther King Jr. Day when it's in the holiday curriculum or whatever, we came down to about 10%. So 10% of the names in all of K through 12 that are required in historical curriculum are women. The rest, 90%, it's all male historical figures. And that blew my mind because I was like, hold the phone. I thought by now my daughter was getting a quality, equal education. Boys and girls have equal access, equal opportunities, right? Great.
Right.
And that was a moment that I went, she might have equal access and maybe equal opportunities, but the quality and content of what she's learning still hasn't caught up. And I was totally missing it as a parent. And that made me ask myself, what else am I missing? What else needs to be worked on in my lifetime to close these gaps that are right under our noses, but without doing some of this digging or having a moment like this, we're missing, we're not experiencing.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And imagine the, parents that don't even take that much interest in seeing what the homework is that their child is doing. And, the number of years that must have been taking place. I mean, that clearly would have an impact on some of the early bias that develops against girls and even against boys in some cases. And you never know the impact that it has on these children. And that's a fascinating story.